Hi everyone. I am back. I am your Shepherd Tech Coach, and I am here to kind of talk to you about the difference between Google Docs and Apple Pages. So what I have here is a split screen. On the left side of the screen is a Google Doc, and on the right side is Pages. So the left side over here you'll see is Google Docs, and the right side is Pages. And then I've just put in some of that lorem ipsum text that Apple is so fond of. Straight off the bat, you'll notice that they're very, very similar. Up at the top, you have these three buttons on the right-hand side, and then essentially a back button on the left-hand side. Both programs have very similar capabilities. Both are now collaborative. Pages has just come out with their collaborative feature. The real only difference I can find between the two products is how they handle images. So if you're not going to be inserting pictures or anything into your document, it really doesn't matter at all which the kids use. There are minor differences on how they're shared with Classroom or iTunes U, but both are shared with both program. There's really not any major, huge problems one way or the other. Really, it's just the picture, how they handle pictures in the text is probably the only thing that might sway you one way or the other, besides just general preference. So Google Docs, you'll notice that you have a little share person here. That's how you add people. You have a little comment feature, so here you could add comments if you wish to. And then, there we go. And then up here, these three vertical dots, that's kind of like your settings menu. So this is where you can change the outline of it, word count, you can change a bunch of the different features to it, but this is where you do most of it. When you actually start typing, your keyboard will pop up. Oops, let me click on the pen down here to edit my document. And you'll notice that here's where you can change the bold, italicized, center justification or left margin, things like that. You can indent your entire document, left or right, but on Google Docs, there's no way to indent the first line of a paragraph. So if that's something that's very important to you, that's important to note that you can't change the first, or you can't indent the first line of your paragraph. You'll also notice that up at the top, my menu has changed. I now have an undo and redo, a plus sign. This is where I can add all of my links, images, tables, all of that fun stuff. And then that A, that's how I could change my font even more. If I wanted more than just bold italicized, I could change the font type, the color, and all of that. And then paragraph, once again, this can change general stuff about it, the line spacing, shift your entire paragraph margin left or right, but it will not indent the first line of the paragraph. On the right-hand side, here we have our Pages document. And so you'll notice that up at the top, I have a paintbrush, a plus sign, and three horizontal dots. Completely different. The paintbrushes change how things look, right? If you paint something, it changes how it looks. So this changes how, for example, the text will look. That paintbrush menu will be different if I have a picture highlighted versus a text highlighted, but other than that, it just changes how things look. So here's where your font and all that other stuff is, and your bullets and your columns and things. The plus sign, just like on the other side, the plus sign was how you insert either pictures or tables or diagrams or shapes or all kinds of fun stuff like that. Whoopsie. And then your three horizontal dots, this is more of your settings menu like you saw in Google Docs. You can collaborate with others, so now there's a collaboration feature. It works pretty much exactly like Google Docs. You could use a link and you could put the link in Classroom so everyone can work on it, or students could send the link to each other, or you could set it up. There's just a lot of different ways to do it, but then you see all these things. You can track changes and word count, all this fun stuff. All right, so both programs have the same general features. Like I said, really the big difference is how it handles images. So let me just show you how the two programs handle images. So I'm going to start with Google Docs on the left. I'm going to click on the pencil to edit my document. And I'm going to click on what now is the plus sign. All right, and I'm going to pick an image from my photos, and I'm going to pick this super cool picture of the science superhero. All right, and you'll notice that there's my picture. Great, perfect. There's not much you can do with this picture now. I can't really move it around at all. I cannot resize my image, so keep that in mind. Where you put it is where it is, so make sure that you have exactly where you want it, and it will always do the inline text wraparound for your image. So Google has an image inserter. It's not a very robust one. You can't do a ton with it, but that being said, I'm sure it'll be functionality that will roll out in the next update or an update down the road. So that is the Google one. The Apple one does have a little bit more functionality. So I'm going to click in here. I'm going to click the plus sign. And I'm going to choose the same image. There we go. All right, so here's the image on Apple. Now here I can resize a little bit. So if I want a little bit smaller, I can resize it. And I can move it around, and I can change how the text is justified. Right now it's just automatic, so it's kind of wrapping around it. But if I did want to change it, I'm changing how it's going to look. So I'm going to click on the paintbrush, and then I have a bunch of different options. Under arrange, this is how I can, make it above and below, or none, and I can have it, have the text go behind it, and I can do all kinds of things with that from here. So there's a little bit more on the image side for Apple, not quite as much as Google. Google does have a workaround. If you were to insert the image into their Google Slides, you can resize and adjust the image how you want there, and then insert it, but it's a workaround, it's an extra step. So these are the two products side by side. If you're just doing word editing and you're not going to add images or anything like that, it really doesn't matter which one you pick because they are very, very, very similar. If you are doing pictures right now, Apple's a little bit easier to use with their resizing capabilities. That being said, there is a workaround for Google, and I'm sure Google is going to roll out image resizing in the next update or two. So just so you're aware, these are the two different functionalities, the two different main programs. So hopefully that clears up some things and some problems and some issues, and I will talk to you all later.